Here's a couple of tips and some things I learned to maybe help you ease through the Medical Medium 369 Liver Rescue Cleanse. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Many of you have been asking to hear a little bit about my results of my Medical Medium 369 Liver Rescue Cleanse that I just did. So I thought I would share it on YouTube and share a couple of tips and tricks that I learned along the way that will make it a little easier for me when I do it the next time. So the overall difficulty of it for myself was about, I would say, low for me, low to medium maybe. It wasn't that difficult for me. Now, granted that I was already no fat, I eat a lot of raw food, and it wasn't much different from my normal everyday routine. There were some things that changed, but it wasn't a huge drastic change. So given those facts for myself, it was relatively easy for me. The difficulty was probably in preparing the food. There was in the middle part, the 4, 5, 6 days. There's a lot of chopping and stuff like that for the salads. But, and the other difficulty that I would say I went through was probably the detoxing. But for me, days 1, 2, and 3 were easy. Not much prep, not much difference from my normal everyday things. And I just basically, for breakfast, I know many of you have been asking, what did I eat? What is a breakfast? What is the Liver Rescue morning? That's all in the Liver Rescue book. You can read all about it. But I basically just had some fruit. I really did. Just got a bunch of fruit. For lunch, I did the Liver Rescue smoothie on those 3 days because that was a smoothie that I was already drinking. So I just had it for lunch. And for dinner, I made the Liver Rescue broth and ate it as a soup. So that was my first 3 days. The next 3 days, the day 4, 5, and 6, were a little more challenging. In those 3 days, I would say prep all your food. That was the easiest thing for me, and that really helped. So it's a lot of, I did the Liver Rescue salad choice A or combination A, which was just the tomatoes, cucumbers, celery, and if you want to add some green onions and the orange honey vinaigrette dressing and cilantro on top. So basically on day 4, I really just prepped all my vegetables. I chopped up a bunch of cucumbers for the next 3 days because you're going to be having the salad for lunch as well as dinner. So I just prepped a whole bunch of cucumbers, a whole bunch of tomatoes, celery, and green onions. And the only thing I did not chop up early was the cilantro. I chopped that fresh for each salad, and I made the dressing fresh for each salad. And that helped a whole lot. So prep, you guys, your food is all the vegetables you can. Do the chopping all at once. It saves a lot of time. What I did do was I chop up my greens to help with digestion. So if you chop up your salad, like all the spinach and the arugula and the butter leaf lettuce, it's a little bit easier. You don't have to chew as much, and you can get in a lot more. That was another helpful tip. So I did chop up my greens, and then every mealtime, every day I prepped the steamed asparagus once, and then I just reheated for dinner. And that's kind of like how I did the steamed vegetables, even with the Brussels sprouts. Those 3 days were quite difficult for me. The salad was a bit much for me. It was a lot of fiber. My stomach was having a difficult time digesting it. I think because the digestive nerves or the nerves in my stomach were inflamed from the neurotoxins that were being released. So it made it sensitive. So I was extremely bloated. I had difficulty in digesting. And I shouldn't have eaten as much salad. I think for myself, what I could do was eat as much until I was full, and then the rest of it I should have juiced for me. That was so that I could get the nutrients and get the fiber part to make me full and feel satiated. I think that's what I'm going to do the next time. Like, I sort of forced myself to eat it, but it was just so much fiber. And I realized that during those 3 days, the asparagus is extremely strong. I was doing a whole entire like bunch a day. I might next time scale back on the asparagus and see how the detoxing happens, because that asparagus really just goes straight into the liver and detoxes. So I think that I may have done a little too much, and I could have scaled back on the asparagus to ease off the detox symptoms. So detox symptoms that I was experiencing during that time, because everyone was so curious, was due because of the neurotoxins being released. When the viruses die, they give off neurotoxins, and those neurotoxins inflame the nerves. And for myself, how that affects me when neurotoxins are being released is I have pain in the side of my right side here on my neck and in my chest, and it gave me a really bad migraine on that first or second day. I think it was day 5. I ended up with a really terrible migraine, and I felt extremely nauseous, and I've never had that in all of the different like cleanses I've done on the medical medium journey. So I know for a fact that it was surely cleaning very deeply in my liver. Like, it was going deep down in the layers, and it was flushing things out. So that was a good thing, but also a very difficult time. So I actually on the day 6, I had to scale back, and I could not eat the salad for dinner one night. I ended up making just a fruit smoothie made of mango, ginger, and banana, and some raw honey. And that smoothie I got from the thyroid healing book, which was part of the 90-day thyroid rehab cleanse. And that was just, the ginger was to settle my stomach. I did do the mango because the mango helped me to have a good night's rest, and just the banana for some potassium and extra calories, and the raw honey to give some extra healing properties to fight off that viruses that were being released in the neurotoxins. So just for immune purposes. So that's kind of like, those 3 days were really tough for me. And I would recommend to be very gentle during those days. Listen to your body, eat until you're full, but don't force yourself. And if you do experience some detox symptoms, I always just add fruit to kind of soothe and help ease the symptoms. I did end up taking some lemon balm from the Vimergy lemon balm tinctures to help ease the headache, because it was extremely bad. Like, it was a bad migraine. But I listened to my body, and if it was too much, I was going to actually stop and not feel like a failure. Just know that it was just a bit much for me at that time. But I was able to continue after doing that fruit smoothie that on day 6 instead of the liver rescue salad. And again, I think it's just, I added a lot of asparagus, and next time I'm just going to kind of gauge and watch that area. Days 7, 8, and 9 were so easy. I did experience detox symptoms, like I got headaches, and I still got a little bit of the pain here, but nothing that wasn't tolerable. But day 7, day 8, it was easy for me. I was fine. I didn't get any nausea. And day 9, I don't know, my body was super energetic that day. I took to everything really well. The watermelon slushies were my favorite. I did do a papaya smoothie in there, just blended papaya. But day 9 was great. Now, the day after, surprisingly or not, so that would be like the 10th day or the first day after the cleanse, I did not have any fat. But later on that night, I ended up having a headache again. So you guys, detoxing is still happening even though the cleanse is over. So just be mindful that, you can still experience some detox symptoms. And I think that's pretty much like my tips and tricks for the next time. I mean, I literally, going back to day 9. Day 9, a super helpful thing that I did do, because there's a ton of juices and you want to be really mindful to support your adrenal glands during that day, because of how things are, like the meals, and it's mainly juices. I scheduled out everything. Like, I scheduled it out on my phone. I made a list and I spaced it out accordingly to make sure that my adrenal glands were not going to be compromised or that they had to work extra hard. And then what I did was I set notifications or alarms on my phone, so it would let me know exactly when to have the next drink or the juice, or stuff like that. And if I got hungry, I would drink a smoothie. But the way I spaced it out, I was actually pretty good, except for the afternoon. I probably might add the next time an extra watermelon slushy in there, or an orange juice in that afternoon. I think that needed a little more calories for me. But other than that, I was not hungry that day. I had tons of energy. I was super happy. I don't know if it was because of the last day, but I felt really good. And so that's pretty much it, you guys. That, and drink lots of water. Make sure to stay hydrated throughout this whole cleanse so that you're flushing out things. But yeah, the cleanse itself for myself was not too difficult. Like I said, the difficult part was just dealing with that extreme migraine and detox symptom of feeling nauseous. But other than that, prep wise and symptoms, other than that, I was okay. And I'm looking forward to doing it again so that I can go through another deeper cleaning, because I mean, swelling has gone down in my body again. It's continuing to decrease, especially around the stomach area. My skin turned out to be extremely glowy and radiant and supple. I had a ton of energy after the cleanse, and I started waking up a lot earlier. Like, I started waking up about 5:30, 6 o'clock versus my normal 7:38. And so those are some of the things that I was experiencing. And I've been getting pretty good night's rest since I've finished this cleanse. And yeah, a lot of good things have happened since that cleanse. So I'm looking forward to doing it again to get another deeper level of healing, is why I keep doing it. And yes, just those little couple of changes and the schedules and the combinations of foods really did make a difference, because I don't experience those kind of detox symptoms and healing when I'm just eating my whatever I choose. So yes, this combination of specific foods really makes a difference. So I hope this helps you, and I hope this kind of gives you a heads up on what's coming. And yeah, get in there and get excited about this cleanse, because it really does make a difference.